You walk through the world with a polished exterior, appearing perfectly capable of handling every challenge alone. Society tells you that strength is found in independence, yet your heart often feels heavy and isolated. You believe that keeping your guard up is the only way to ensure your safety and survival. There is a strange contradiction in wanting to be known while simultaneously fearing the exposure of truth. You watch others share their deepest flaws with an ease that feels entirely foreign to your soul. While they seek connection through openness, you find security in the silence of your own hidden thoughts. The walls you built were meant to protect you, but they have slowly become your private prison. Maybe the fear of being seen isn't about weakness, but about the terrifying weight of being known. You are the person who listens to everyone else's problems while never sharing a single one of yours. When someone asks how you are truly doing, your default response is a quick and very convincing smile. You have mastered the art of being present in a room while remaining emotionally miles away from everyone. People describe you as steady and reliable, never realizing that your calm is a carefully maintained survival tactic. You avoid deep eye contact when conversations turn serious, fearing that someone might finally see past your mask. To the world, you are an anchor, but inside, you are drifting in a sea of unspoken needs. You take pride in your self-sufficiency, yet you often wonder why no one ever tries to reach you. This pattern of emotional distance has become your identity, making the prospect of vulnerability feel like a threat. There was a specific moment when you realized that being the strong one was starting to break you. Perhaps it was a night spent in total silence, feeling the crushing weight of everything you cannot say. You noticed that your relationships felt like performances where you were constantly playing a role for an audience. The exhaustion of maintaining a perfect image began to outweigh the perceived benefits of staying safely hidden away. You started to see the gaps between who you are and the version of you everyone else knows. A deep sense of betrayal surfaced, not from others, but from the realization that you have abandoned yourself. Maturity brought the uncomfortable awareness that your safety net was actually preventing you from experiencing any real love. This shift wasn't a sudden explosion, but a quiet, persistent ache that demanded your full and honest attention. Psychology suggests that your fear of vulnerability is often a sophisticated defense mechanism known as avoidant attachment. This isn't a character flaw, but rather a strategic adaptation to an environment where being open felt dangerous. When you perceive emotional intimacy as a risk, your brain triggers a stress response to keep you safe. Cognitive dissonance occurs when you crave human connection, but your subconscious mind views that very connection as a trap. You might experience what experts call emotional perfectionism, the belief that you must always appear in total control. This internal pressure creates a barrier that prevents you from forming the deep bonds your human spirit naturally desires. Attachment theory explains that our early bonds dictate how we navigate the complex landscape of intimacy and trust. If your early vulnerability was met with rejection or neglect, your mind learned to associate openness with pain. By staying distant, you are attempting to maintain a sense of autonomy in a world that feels unpredictable. Self-awareness is the first step in understanding that your walls are not your true self, but armor. This armor was forged in the heat of past experiences, designed to deflect the arrows of potential judgment. Understanding the mechanics of your fear allows you to view your protective patterns with compassion rather than shame. Your history suggests that your need for self-protection was likely born in an environment that felt emotionally unpredictable. Perhaps you grew up in a home where your feelings were treated as inconveniences rather than valid human experiences. You learned early on that being the stable, quiet child was the only way to earn a sense of belonging. When your needs were consistently overlooked, you decided that needing anything from anyone else was a dangerous liability to have. This conditioning taught you that your inner world was something to be managed alone, far away from any outside eyes. You took on responsibilities that were never yours to carry, becoming an adult long before your childhood had truly ended. Past relationships might have reinforced the idea that showing your true self would only lead to inevitable betrayal or pain. Every time you opened a window to your soul, someone seemed to find a way to let in the cold. You began to view your heart as a fortress that required constant maintenance and a very high, thick stone wall. This reflection is not about finding someone to blame, but about understanding the heavy architecture of your current emotional life. Your patterns were once brilliant survival strategies that kept you safe when you had no other way to defend yourself. Now, as an adult, those same strategies have become the very things that keep you from feeling truly alive and seen. You find yourself trapped in a constant battle between the desire for intimacy and the absolute need for total peace. Part of you longs for a partner who can see through your silence, yet you push them away when they try. You care deeply for the people in your life, but you often appear distant to protect yourself from their influence. There is a profound ache for honesty, yet you avoid any conversation that feels like it might lead to drama. You want to be understood without having to explain yourself, hoping someone will simply decode the complex language of your soul. When someone offers help, your immediate instinct is to decline, fearing that accepting it would make you feel incredibly weak. You value your independence above all else, yet that same independence often feels like a heavy and lonely golden cage. The conflict lives in the space between wanting to be loved and being terrified of the cost of that love. You are a master of the Irish goodbye, leaving situations before they have a chance to become emotionally messy or complicated. This internal tug-of-war leaves you feeling drained, as if you are fighting a war where both sides are you. You protect your autonomy with a fierce intensity, yet you secretly wonder what it feels like to truly lean on someone. It is a quiet, exhausting dance of stepping forward into the light and then rushing back into the safety of shadows. Research by Dr. Breen Brown suggests that vulnerability is actually the most accurate measurement of courage in any human being. Her studies indicate that those who embrace their imperfections are the ones who experience the highest levels of true belonging. When we numb the potential for pain, we also inadvertently numb our capacity for joy, creativity, and deep emotional connection. Neuroscience shows that the human brain is wired for social connection, treating social rejection with the same intensity as physical pain. Your fear of being seen is a biological response to the perceived threat of being cast out or judged. Experts in emotional intelligence find that labeling our fears can actually reduce the power they hold over our daily decisions. A famous study on attachment styles reveals that avoidant individuals often suppress their emotions to maintain a sense of control. This suppression leads to increased physiological stress, even if the person appears perfectly calm and collected on the outside. Psychologists describe the vulnerability paradox, where we search for it in others but fear it deeply within our own selves. We see openness in a friend as a sign of strength, yet we view it in ourselves as a failure. Data shows that authentic connection is only possible when we allow our true, unedited selves to be fully and honestly witnessed. Understanding these scientific truths helps us realize that our walls are not just psychological, they are deeply etched in our biology. It is time to look at your guarded nature not as a flaw, but as a testament to your profound emotional intelligence. Your ability to protect your inner peace is a sign of a person who understands the true value of their soul. You are not cold or distant. You are simply a person who chooses where to invest your precious emotional energy. This discernment is a form of maturity that many people spend their entire lives trying to achieve and maintain. Your walls were built by a version of you that was brilliant enough to survive a very difficult season of life. The hyper-awareness you possess allows you to read a room and understand the hidden intentions of those around you. You have developed a level of self-reliance that is both rare and incredibly powerful in an often unstable world. By recognizing your fear, you are already demonstrating a level of self-awareness that most people choose to avoid entirely. Your journey isn't about tearing down everything you are, but about learning when to lower the drawbridge for others. Reframing your behavior allows you to see the strength in your silence and the wisdom in your careful boundaries. There is a beautiful and sacred distinction between the pain of loneliness and the profound power found in solitude. Loneliness is a hunger for connection, while solitude is the rich and intentional practice of being comfortably alone. You have spent so much time in silence that you have discovered a peace that others find deeply intimidating. Distance is not always a rejection of others. Sometimes it is the only way to find your own internal clarity. True independence is not about never needing anyone, but about knowing you are whole even when you are by yourself. Avoidance is a fear of the other, but intentional space is a deep and loving respect for your own rhythm. You are learning that being vulnerable does not mean giving up your power, but sharing it with those who earn it. Reflection allows you to see that your quiet nature is a vast ocean, and only those who dive can know it. Your experience is a deeply human one, shared by countless others who have learned to keep their hearts well guarded. It is perfectly normal to feel a sense of hesitation when the world asks you to be completely and totally open. You are allowed to take your time, to move at a pace that feels safe and honors your unique history. Please know that your feelings are valid, and your need for safety is a fundamental right that you deserve to keep. Your growth is not measured by how much you reveal, but by how much more you love and accept yourself today. As you continue to walk this path, may you find the courage to let your light shine through the cracks. What is one small way you have protected your heart that you are now beginning to see as a strength? Please share your reflections in the comments below, as your story might be the very light someone else needs.